Hi guys, today we are going to see a 2018 released horror movie called Pari. A most threatening demon, called Ifrit, kidnaps innocent women and then impregnates them to spread its bloodline with the help of its followers. Our protagonist Rikshana is one such child born for Ifrit, struggling for survival as she has both humane and demonic traits in her. Whether she finds a way out of the demonic group or not is the plot, told in a terrific manner. And once again, welcome back to our channel Bunny Recaps. Let's get into the movie. In the opening scene, Ryan is speaking with his potential bride, Dia. Despite their different personalities, they begin to feel comfortable with each other. After that, Ryan and his parents return home. They are driving through a forest road in heavy rain. At that time, a woman crashes into their car with a loud thudding noise cracking windshield. They were frozen in fear and sat still for a minute. Ryan steps outside the car, only to find her dead. They report the incident to the police as a suicide. The police asked Ryan to show them the spot of the accident. They inquire about the lady to the villagers, whom identified her as the dog lady, living alone in the forest. Ryan and the police enter the forest, which was separated by the pond from the village. They find the hut in the middle of the jungle. Suddenly, a group of dogs runs towards them and starts barking aggressively. The police pets the dog and went inside the hut. They find a girl shackled with an iron chain in a dirty condition. She seems to be mentally disturbed and is totally aloof from the outside world. Later they learned that she is the daughter of the woman and takes her to collect her mother's remains. Ryan feels responsible for her mother's death, so he decided to accompany Rikshana to the final rituals. Two workers in the morgue steal chains or any other valuables found in the dead bodies. One worker finds a seal in the hand of Rikshana's mother and runs out in fear. The scene shows the seal, in which a fetus with an unconnected umbilical cord in the womb is seen. He informs another man that he saw a chakra in the dead woman's hand. They pass the news to their headman, who is also shocked by it. He went inside the washroom and takes the artificial eyeball and put it in the water. After that, he starts cleaning the empty space in his eyes. The scene moves back to 1995, where a dozen of pregnant ladies were kept captive. They were chosen one after another and injected with some sort of drug before taking them for delivery. After that, the group beheads the baby born and stores them in a jar. Rikshana's mother is taken in forcibly. Then she was put in a bathtub with water mixed full of blood. They chain her legs and ask her to cooperate. She shows reluctance, takes the incense sticks and threatens to harm. The professor tries to snatch the stick. The lady shoved the burning stick in his eyes and escapes from them. The professor lost his eyes in the incident. At present, Rikshana and Ryan are waiting for their turn to cremate. Suddenly Rikshana shivers in fear and looks disturbed by the smell of incense sticks. Ryan calms her down and takes her to the hut. It is still raining. Ryan doesn't know the way out of the forest, so he takes Rikshana to show him the way. After that, Rikshana is heading inside the forest. A loud groan is heard. She sees her dead mother sitting there. Again a loud groan is heard. Now, instead of her mother's appearance, she sees a witch whose face looks rotten. Rikshana screams her lungs out and runs away in fear. Her aggressive dogs followed her and barked loudly. All of a sudden, she breaks down in pain and wails a loud cry. Ryan gets with his routine. He gets a call from Dia. She agrees to the marriage. Back there, Rikshana is living her secluded life. The professor and his group show up in the forest to kill Rikshana. When the prayers are heard on loudspeakers, she immersed her head in a water bucket. The professor makes use of the situation and hurries to catch her. But he finds that she had escaped. He notices a hair strand in the water bucket and takes it. The scene moves to Ryan. He hears dogs barking. He went to take a look outside. At return, he finds wet footsteps on the floor. On following it, he finds Rikshana trembling in cold, with her eyes white and blabbering under the bed. He tries to calm her and asks who wants to kill her. To which she replies that she doesn't know who he is, but he had attempted to kill her 2 times when her mother was alive. Ryan allows her to stay with him till they find a safe home for her. While Ryan is out for work, she is in his home alone, locked up from outside. She hears window clanging and a black figure passing by. She hears a cracking sound. It follows her to the bedroom, where she sees an apparition of herself, but with blood-smitten face and teeth in a decayed condition. She runs towards the washroom. Out of nowhere, a black witch appears beside her and chants something. Rikshana screams in fear and immersed her head in the water bucket. At night, Ryan returns from work. He finds Rikshana drenched in water and has not eaten anything all day. He gives her new clothes and asks her to change before having food. He sets the table. Rikshana is astonished by the TV. Ryan says that he had found a welfare home for her. She grew uneasy and convulsed under the bed, refusing to come out. Unable to convince her, Ryan left her alone. The next day, Ryan takes Rikshana to the welfare home, where they find the warden brutal. Rikshana grabs Ryan's hand and shields behind his shoulders. Moved, Ryan takes her home. In the course of time, he teaches her the ways of the world. Rikshana is very happy to be around him. They find a connection and are quite comfortable with each other. Meanwhile, the family of Dia and Ryan agrees to their marriage. They got them engaged. Back at Ryan's house, she watches a romantic scene and learns the word love. She practices saying it in front of the mirror. Suddenly, she twists in pain and clenches her stomach. Ryan enters and finds her in pain. When he asks her to check with the doctor, she refuses and says it is usual for her, once in every month. Ryan understands that she is on her periods and leaves to give her privacy. At midnight, when Ryan is fast asleep, Rikshana is sitting on the top of the balcony, railing cross-legged. Her attire flinging in the air. She jumps out from the balcony. But she doesn't fall to the ground, instead she is jumping at ease, from floor to floor defying gravity. She reaches the ground and starts petting a stray dog. All of a sudden she grabs its head and starts biting its neck. The poor dog wails and dies after some time. Rikshana is seen panting with blood smeared all over her mouth. The scene moves to the professor and his group. He meets the Black Witch. She is being naughty with him and aggravates his anger. He then starts chanting a mantra that brings the Black Witch under his control. He gave her the hair strand and asks for Rikshana's whereabouts. To which it replies she is with a boy. She tells them she is grown up and will spread their bloodline. The professor gives her a hen as a favor and leaves. Just then, the Black Witch called and threatens that he will be killed by Rikshana soon. The professor doesn't show any reaction and leaves the place. After which, the Black Witch devours the live hen. Back at Ryan's house, Rikshana again hears a groan and sees the apparition of the Black Witch. She feels that it is making her to hallucinate. She tries to immerse herself in the bucket. Just then, a hand from the bucket catches her and dumps her into the water. She sees the worship place of Ifrit, where his followers were scratching the ground with their long nails, and bows down in respect. As accounted by the professor, Ifrit is not to be seen, he is felt only in the air around. They summon a lady to him forcibly and brand her hand with their seal called Alajaka. Rikshana jumps out in fear. Ryan returns to home. He finds Rikshana cutting her nails with a kitchen knife and bleeding from it. He scolds her and tends her wound. Just then, Rikshana confesses her love for him. Ryan dodges at first but gives in to her desire, and the two end up in bed. The next morning, Ryan is ashamed of his deed, while Rikshana is so happy to get his love. When he is leaving for work, the professor meets him and asks him to give Rikshana. He informs that she is Ifrit's daughter and not a human being as he thinks. He threatens that once she gets her needs done, she would devour him too. Ryan summons security to take the professor out of his apartment. But he was stopped by the professor. He gives him a warning and leaves with his group. At night, one of the professor's men follows Ryan, and the two attacks each other, from which Ryan sustained an injury. Rikshana is furious for causing harm to her love. She went to the man's place. He finds the stretcher knocking at the wall repeatedly. Following that, he sees the corpses out of the freezer box. Out of nowhere, Rikshana jumps upon him and spews her poison into him. The man dies. The next day, Dia shows up. He hides Rikshana. When Dia noticed wounds on his forehead, she treated him. And then she leaned to kiss him. At that moment, Ryan watches Rikshana slinging upside down at the slab staring at them. He moves away from kissing Dia. She misunderstands that he is not interested, so apologized and left in embarrassment. Meanwhile, Rikshana enters the room through the window and tells him she doesn't like Dia and leans to kiss him. Dia returns to take her phone and finds them together. She is humiliated and rushes out of his home. Ryan follows her only to shoo off by Dia. He is angry with Rikshana and asks her to leave his house. Rikshana grew angry and lifts him off the ground, telling him that she would not leave. Ryan starts realizing the truth in the professor's words. He begins to research about Ifrit from old news records and internet. He finds that Ifrit is the most frightening demon. It is capable of having a sexual relationship with humans. To spread its bloodline, it kidnaps many women from a village and impregnates them. These children are born within a month of the lunar calendar. Without the umbilical cord. Rikshana is one such child and the sole survivor, as the professor killed all the other children born for Ifrit. These children have to spew out the poison once in every month, or else it would be fatal to them. Now Ryan learns why she twists in pain the other day. He returns home and chains Rikshana, for which she helps him to lock the chain herself. She is ready to lose anything just to be with him. Then she informs that she is pregnant. He moves away from her in shock. At that time, the professor and his men enter Ryan's house. Rikshana grabs Ryan's shoulder. But he gets up from there and leaves her to them. She cries that they will kill their baby and begs to unchain her. But he turns deaf to her crying and leaves. The professor informs him that it will take a while to kill Rikshana. They put tape on her mouth and starts whipping her. Ryan went to his parents' home and locks himself up for 3 weeks. He opens the door when he learns Dia arrived to meet him. He confessed to her about Rikshana. He feels like a monster for leaving Rikshana, who is carrying his child. Dia feels pathetic about his condition and tells that there is a monster inside everyone and confessed to aborting her child when she was in a relationship. Ryan wants to save the baby, so heads back to the town. Back there, Rikshana is tortured and she is in full term. She struggles to breathe through the tape. The anger inside her intensifies and her body poison secretes manifold. She unbreaks the shackle and kills the man in charge. Then she went to the professor's house, who is peacefully sleeping in his bed. When he turns, he finds Rikshana lying beside him with anger written all over her face. He jumps out in fear. He chants the mantra to control her, for which Rikshana seems to be unaffected. He searches for incense sticks to scare her. But he doesn't find it. Then Rikshana reaches close to him and twists his head 180 degrees backward in a single stroke. She takes the earphone that she is using to not hear the mantras chanted by the professor and throws it away. Then she leaves to kill Dia, whom she believed to be the reason for her failed relationship with Ryan. Meanwhile, Ryan finds Rikshana missing. Also the portrait of Dia with bloody footsteps. He alerts Dia to be safe. Dia is petrified and locks all the doors. She hears a noise inside. She walks slowly following the noise. She finds Rikshana devouring her pet dove. Her mouth spitting with blood. Dia is shocked to death and runs to the adjacent room. Rikshana bangs on the door. She caught Dia by the neck and crashes her against the wall. She then drags her hair and throws her on the glass table. Dia collapses. Rikshana jumps on her and when is about to spit the poison. Dia accidentally touches the remote and the cartoon plays. Rikshana is diverted. Using the situation, Dia takes a stool and thumps it on her. Rikshana is convulsing in labor pain. Dia, trembling in fear, tries to hit Rikshana as self-defense. But she is moved on seeing Rikshana struggling in pain. She helps her in delivering the baby. The evil spirits appear to witness the child being born. After a tough fight, Rikshana gave birth to a baby boy with an umbilical cord. Meaning the baby is pure and is not connected to Ifrit. She leaves the baby with Dia and disappeared without harming her. Ryan reaches and looks at the baby. He learns that Rikshana left. He went to the hut to search for her. Rikshana is terribly ill and in the position of unable to use her powers. She scolds Ryan to go away. Ryan breaks and tells her that he was scared of her. Rikshana reaches him and tells that their child is not like her, so he doesn't have to be afraid of him. They share a hug. Rikshana is growing ill and dies around the arms of her love. The film ends with Ryan holding Rikshana, remembering her love for him. The movie reflects the privilege of having a normal life. We should set aside the differences of rich and poor and be thankful for having a peaceful life. Thanks for subscribing to us. We have planned to upload more interesting world-class movies with unique stories. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and share your priceless comments. It will help us to reach other movie lovers. And do subscribe and join our family for more upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.